Welcome to the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. Welcome to the Blah, Blah, Blah podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show and podcast. And it's a special one. Today, I have Nate the Great. Let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, let's adjust. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to invite up Nate the Great to the show.
Marlene, baby.
What's going on, Nate?
Nothing much. Happy Friday to you and everybody in the chat.
Happy Friday. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Y'all see the title. Today's title, we're going to be talking about how to treat your man or woman in a relationship. But first, before all of those introductions are necessary, I have Nate the Great Podcast 2.0. I'm going to, I put the link to his channel. It's I pinned it in the comments. But if Nate has something to say about his channel, and then we'll get started.
It's really no introduction. My channel is basically based on the premise of great conversations and at some points, some form of building and some form of unity. So, if you're into the topics, some of them can be triggering, some of them, it might make people look or feel different, but guarantee you that I'm just having a general, overall, logical conversation. You're always more than welcome to pop in, and when the panel is dropped, you already pop in. Yeah. Always good to get different views and opinion. And you've been up there a couple of times, my lady.
Yes, I have. So today, like I said, the topic, how to treat your woman and your man in a relationship. And I came up with this idea, and I thought that it would be a great topic for me and Nate to collaborate on. First, I got to say, people need to learn how to treat the person that they're with in the right way. I am so sick of hearing people complain about the person they're in a relationship with, but they're not putting in any effort into the relationship.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's coming from both ends, because there was some things I was sitting there just thinking about. I said it's crazy. I said because some people will try to sit here and say that, the relationship didn't work because of, and then they'll go right to just blaming the person. No, you still have to take accountability because it was something that you didn't do, or it was something that you did that it didn't work. So it's like, if you had part in that breakup, you should take some form of accountability because it wouldn't have got to that point.
See, and that's the thing that people don't want to admit and call it all out because they always want to make it seem like it's another person when, like, let's be honest, sometimes we make mistakes and we don't always do what we should.
No, that's the truth. But see, that's on both ends. Uh, I was just having a conversation with somebody, and, and this is one of the melanated sisters, and for her to say it, it threw me off because you'll expect certain ones to say it, but you're not expecting somebody that looked like they was about to be on the opposite side of the fence with them saying, "Nah, we got to stop doing this." Like she said something that was profound. She said that us as melanated women, we got to stop talking down to our men, and we got to stop talking at them like they children. Like not every man is going to be the same. You know, that one man you might do something to, he ain't going to tolerate that but so much, and that'll be an easy way to get you cut off.
Right. That's true, Nate, because so much individuals, they always come at people in a like very aggressive manner, or they classify all women or all men a certain way, and they're unhealed. They haven't worked on themselves. They haven't fixed their past issues or whatever it is. Like, why did you select that person? But they always are blaming their past or other people when what are you doing? What are you bringing to the relationship? Are you bringing something profound to the relationship? I'm so sick of hearing not just women but men as well always talking about what another person does, but what do you have to bring to the relationship?
Yeah, because to be honest, I'm from this old school standpoint, and maybe it doesn't even have to do nothing with my background, because some of the people in my family are heavy on the religious tip when it comes to certain things. But I've always said this, you know, not just me speaking it. I said I've always felt the man is always supposed to, yeah, be the protector and the provider, but that's mostly for his wife and his children. Like not just randoms, because look how many people we lost trying to play Captain Save or do whatever, thinking they was doing something right. And then when it's all said and done, the person that you were trying to save is living their life. The other person probably done messed up theirs, but like come on now. Like a man is supposed to provide when he's supposed to provide, but that's mostly for his wife and his family. You can't expect a man to provide for you if you're not in no form of serious relationship or even a marriage.
Yep. Like I always say, people are expecting a wife or a husband privilege from a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's
Yeah.
like that's not your wife or your husband. But I understand, like, of course there's going to be a connection when you have children with somebody, if that's your baby's father or your baby's mother. Yes, there's always going to be a connection, but we have to stop expecting that because you have a child with somebody that they're always going to want to be in a relationship with you.
You know what it is? I've always said I agree with you on that part, but I've always said this too. It's always mostly comes down to who again you vet, and even if you do, because I seen some people who baby mothers, baby fathers, like they wasn't near being married when they had children. But what made their relationships work, or what made them even get to that point of even getting to a marriage, is because again communication line was open. Like some people will adore and even appreciate the company you give, but if you finding ways to mess that up, then it's basically gonna be a sinking ship from there. Like I could be with you, prime example, but if I know you're gonna nag or have something negative to say all the time, then that would be a quick way for me to say, nah, this ain't it.
Yep. And and I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about, what are healthy relationships. So healthy relationships involve honesty, trust, respect, open communication between partners, and it takes effort and compromise from both people. I would definitely want to highlight that it takes compromise from both people. It can't just be one person assuming the other person should do all of these things. We hear about the lists I've heard lists on both sides. Oh, a woman has to have all of these things, or a man has to have all of these things, but compromise has to be on both sides.
Oh no, that's a and she another wise melanated woman saying that same thing. Ah, but you hit it right on the nail though. It has to be a compromise on both ends. Like, but see, it's the thing though, is again, it goes back down to communication. What do you want? What don't you want? What the you'll figure out all the need parts, at least in my opinion, once you gone past a certain stage. But the wants is not always what's going to gain a person. Like, look here, I could want you to be this, but that don't necessarily mean you're going to be this. But if you choose to always want, you'll be missing out on a lot of things that you need. So,
Yep. And I always say, like, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Um, I hear people always talking about how a person is providing X, Y, and Z in the relationship, but they never open up their mouth and communicate what they're going through. And I understand not everybody comes from that background of knowing how to express themselves, how they feel. But just because something may be scary or new to you, you have to try. You can't just blame the other person all the time, or just think another person must know, or they should know, or we've been in a relationship for all this time, they should know how I feel. No, you got to speak up and to say how you're feeling and what you're going through, because communication is the key of a good, healthy relationship.
oh, that's an entire fact right there. Because again, I could be with you for a long time, but you can have different emotions. It's different days, different emotions. It could be different things going on with you in per se, and I not know it. Or you might have got some news, prime example, but you didn't tell me nothing yet. So how would I know what's going on with you if you're not going to open up and say something? That's why I said the communication barrier should always be something strong more than anything. Like even with friends, prime example. Why you think some friends always remain tight the way they remain tight? And it's not just because they was coming from the sandbox together and stuff like that. No, it's just some of them had that balance. Like, look, we both came from this, we both went through this, and we both rode with each other through this. So, oh, ain't nothing to just have a communication and talk, But some people and that's on both ends. They don't know how to communicate. You're right. They don't know how to communicate. Some people, they form of communication is, I got to spaz on you. No,
Yep.
you don't got to spaz on nobody to get no point across. Like, and you don't need to talk down on them either.
Yep. And there's a lot of people, well, I know I came from that too. A lot of people come from that feeling that yelling and screaming is communication. And it's not. That's very unhealthy and toxic. And I know, because I came from that environment, that however you feel, you just give it to them, but that's not how you treat somebody that you care about. We have to learn healthier ways to communicate, and we don't always have all the tools to do that. Sometimes you got to read a book, sometimes you got to go and talk to somebody, and sometimes you just have to learn to grow up. I can speak that from real talk. Being in a relationship, there's sometimes I was in a relationship with somebody that I had no business in being in that relationship, because I wasn't mature enough. I didn't even know myself yet. So what am I doing with another person? So you got to work on yourself first before you're trying to work on a romantic relationship.
No, no, it's a fact because, um, and I had to take this the excerpt from I caught some viral show that I guess is on the tube now, but um, like I said, for that woman to say what she said, and that was profound. She said, "Us as black women, we got to stop talking down on our men. We got to stop putting them down. Like we need to talk with them and not at them and not against them. Like that's something that we lack right now." But I says almost the same way with some men, because some men don't just say what they need to say. But I told somebody, if you don't open your mouth and inform somebody that you have a problem, how will anybody know you got a problem? Then you can't get mad at the world neither, because you have all the rights. It's your life. If you want your life to have some form of, peace and prosperity, then you're gonna have to eventually be the one to do it. But you can't sit here and expect somebody to Can't expect somebody to be with you or even try to build with you if you're not trying to build yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say that, how you were raised, what you went through, traumas that happened, and while we're sorry for the things that happened to us, we can't just stay in that position like little kids, like little girls and little boys our whole life and blaming our parents or the past situations. You got to move past that and say, it's time for me to learn how to speak, how to communicate. What is my love language? What is the love language of my partner? And if I don't know something, be mature enough to say, I want to say this to you, but I don't know how to say it right. But just the fact that someone is trying to open up and trying to communicate, that's where I think that's a healthy relationship. It should be a comfortable space for both to express themselves, not just one sided.
Yeah, because see, that's the thing though. There's always ways to do that. Because prime example, like you just said, I don't want to say nothing to see that's mostly where some people with logic come from. And it's not just the men, but the women too. Some people will say that. Listen, I need to tell you something, but I need you to hear me out before you go off the deep end or before you misconstrue anything. Just listen to me. Just hear me out. There's ways to do that because again, you can't let every past situation affect your present and mess up your future. Like, you can't carry old baggage. We spoke about this before. You can't carry old baggage into something new. It's not gonna work. That's like putting the elevator together. You got all the new parts, but except the computer brain. The computer brain is old as hell. It might work, it might not work. But it is about communication. But everybody gotta be, they gotta be stern with it. Like, look, I can't sit here and know I'm going through something, but I don't tell my woman nothing. Like, nah, I'm gonna let her know what's going on before she starts really worrying.
Yep. And that's the thing right there. It has to be on both sides. Like if you're in a good, healthy relationship, you should, be able to be free to say, I didn't grow up in that environment. I don't know how to, say everything how I'm feeling, but I'm trying. And then you try to open up a little bit and talk about a few things. And then the other one listens and say, I'm glad you told me that. I think that's the part of being in a good, healthy relationship is you don't make fun of the other person and say, oh, that's whatever. Or, well, I was raised in that environment. How come you can't be like me? It's not a comparison thing. It's how you grow together in the relationship so that you can be strong and stick together, like iron sharpens iron. What one person doesn't have, the other person has. And, you teach each other, you help each other. And I think the most important thing, too, in this conversation is learning to be supportive of the other. And that's something that I don't see a lot through your life. The person that you met from the beginning is one individual. Then, as you grow, as you learn things, as you go through things in your life, you should be elevating and growing and not staying in the same space. So, it should be a free space for, like, I'm learning this. What do you think about this, honey? And, and grow together, communicate, talk about things and say this is helping me and not saying it's helping me so it should help you too, because you got two different individuals. You grow in your way and let them grow in theirs.
Yeah. But it's really all about, again, it's just about decision and important decisions that you make because, some people, you might have made a mistake as far as everybody that's had some form of a mistake in their life as far as somebody they either dated or had some form of contact with. Understandable. But always remember this too. Not everybody's going to be, moving within that same realm of things because not every man is, like I told somebody the other day, not every man is going to be abusive. If you've been in situations where there was abuse, not every man or not every other man who might talk to you is going to be abusive. If you do find somebody that's good for you, don't go with the assumption that if he gets mad, he's going to automatically no. Yeah, it's about what you choose and it's also about, where you go from that decision. Because, if you decide to move on because you know your worth and you deserve better, then you got to heal yourself first before you get back on that playing field. And then just make sure you know what to beware of. You know, not everybody going to be in that same boat.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And that goes right into this next point, respecting the other's opinions and feelings. Where you're not always going to agree on things. And I had to learn myself. I'm being 100% real and honest. As a woman, sometimes I feel like if I have an opinion about something and I'm in a relationship and they don't agree with it or like it, I'll get upset sometimes. But I had to move past that and realize that I can have my own opinion. They can have theirs, as long as there's mutual respect for each other's opinions and feelings, and not made fun of or clowned at or put down, or no, it's about respecting each other in the relationship.
Yeah, that's the basis right there. Because prime example, you can have two people who are high strong, but they made relationships work because again they communicated. Everybody's gonna have different views and opinions. Yeah, we know that. And some people might have different teachings, but if it's almost the same concept, then it shouldn't be to a point where we have to be, we shouldn't have to be at heads. Like, if it's something that I'm doing, okay, well, if it's something that you feel it could be a problem, then you gotta come talk to me, and vice versa. You know, sometimes you might be looking out for somebody to the best you can. But again, it gotta be a two-way street. I'm telling you something, I need you to hear me out. I'm gonna let you get yours out, and then we go from there. But like I said, I've seen two high strong people, shoot, they still married now. They both strong, high opinionated, but they made it work because again, they just sat down and talked.
And that's what you have to do sometimes. I have to say, we have to learn to stop putting other people in our personal business. Stop, ladies and gentlemen, stop telling your siblings, your parents, your friends. Stop telling everybody in the relationship besides the person you're with. I've heard people saying all this stuff about their husband, boyfriend, or girlfriend or wife, whatever side they are on. And they haven't even had conversations, always arguing, always upset with the person they're in a relationship with, but never talking to the person that you need to be talking to the most about this issue.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's the worst thing. You gotta again open your mouth because it's very dire that you do so, because there's some people who have lost key relationships and stuff again just because they didn't open their mouth. Like, if I know you're going through some form of depression, but you're not willing to open your mouth and tell me what's going on, the most I could do is either pray for you or just hope that you don't have an episode where I'm gonna have to be a witness to something I don't want to be a witness to. So you're gonna have to tell me something. Like, you can't just keep it wrapped up.
Yeah. And I understand that, because I came from that. Growing up, that atmosphere that, of just being quiet, of keeping everything inside. And it follows how you grew up, how your home environment was. You bring that into your adulthood. And if you don't go back and fix that stuff, if you're always trying to keep everything inside and feeling that I got to fix this on my own, then what is the purpose of being in a relationship? A relationship is somebody to help you, to support you through all of the ups and downs in your life. But, it really means that you have to listen to one another.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just the simple elements. There's a lot of reasons why I said one day that when I look at some of these older folks, like even coming from my era, a lot of these older folks, like even right now, even I know one or two of them, they just lost their significant others, but when you hear the impact of they have been together 40, 50 years, done been through all of whatever, even to a point where, like right now in this modern age, everybody would have been quitting already. They stood through because again, it was about a balance. Look, I love you that much that I don't want to disturb whatever balance I got. But you do need to listen to one another. But you also got to let it be known, like, look, um, I want the best for you just like you want the best for me. But we still got to be on the same playing field. If it's something I didn't see, I would expect you to tell me something and vice versa.
It has to go back and forth. It can't just be one person. Like I've seen it where one person is the dominant person in the relationship and they do all the talking, and then when the other person has something to say, they downplay it, they ignore them, they clown them, they're mean to them, they embarrass them in front of the other. And for me, that's one of those things that I won't tolerate. I don't like when people in a relationship, I don't care what you're going through in your relationship. You don't throw the person you're in a relationship under the bus in front of your parents and siblings and friends and coworkers and other people. You just don't do that. Those are the conversations you have with the person you're with. And a lot of people have to learn that they need to grow up.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It'll go back to what I said before. Mostly anything in life, you're going to have some form of strong communication, not so much as a bond, but communication. Like when I was talking about that situation on my live that time about the man feeling uncomfortable. Like, first of all, you in a household where there's 3 generations of women that are single and miserable right now, and they're trying to do the same thing to you, and you're not seeing it. They don't like, oh, but this is family. Obviously, if he don't feel like that, then there's a problem right there. I mean, and the man didn't do nothing wrong. I mean, like, he seemed like a good man. Like, all right, he might not be with, and that's the thing too. We got to stop worried about the financial brackets all the time when it comes to, relate. When it comes time to do so, especially if you're already deep into a relationship, then yeah, we'll do that. But in the beginning stages, it shouldn't always be about the financial focuses and all that stuff, because right now I could be down and out. But that don't mean I ain't gonna have nothing come around that corner. But if you believe in me, or if you feel like this is what you're gonna do, if you're gonna support me on that, then you support me. But my thing was he didn't look broke, but he didn't look rich neither. But it was just the principle, like your family members are treating me a certain way. You've seen this and they don't like me. So why do you want me around them? I can understand your family and all, but shoot.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that on this point, when I was thinking about this discussion, when I was preparing for it, I think that this part comes into the discussion just right. I'm glad you said that, learning to be supportive when you don't understand. And that can go through many things in the relationship. It can be with the finances, because maybe you started the relationship and maybe you're in school. Maybe you're just building your business. Maybe you are just, maturing. But, in a relationship, you have to learn to be supportive when you don't understand. We haven't walked in the shoes of our partner. You haven't dealt with the things that they have dealt with, and you don't have their same personality. So that's the best part of being in a relationship, is learning to be supportive when you don't understand what they're going through.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, if I could look at him and see that he, like I said, it's not like he was one of them on the street dudes, whatever the case is, or it's not like he was one of them hood characters you would call, the ones that always play games. No, he just was stern on what he was saying, because he probably had prior interactions with them, and it's the same thing. Like, your mother don't like me, your aunt don't like me, your grandmother don't like me. But then again, I'm not doing nothing outside of being the best boyfriend I could be to you right now. So, and even like prime example, if it was a marriage, prime example, ain't no real husband or no real wife gonna allow even family to try to come down on somebody that they love and honestly care for. So again, it's about knowing when to actually intervene and step in. Like in that situation with her and the dude, she should have said, "Ma, look, I understand whatever, but this man has been doing right by me, regardless of how you may feel about him. You're doing right by me. I'm not beaten up or abused. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on nothing. I'm happy." That's the main thing some people got to realize. Look, if your child is happy, let them be happy.
And you know what? You know what is so true about that is there's a lot of people who are not in relationships and they will try to do anything to sabotage your relationship to get you all to break up so that you can be in the same boat and category as them. They don't want to see you happy. They don't want to see that you have somebody helping you with bills and life. And they don't want that. They want you to be miserable like them. So we have to be careful about telling our personal relationship business and what happens in the relationship and what they do. You know, if you can't say something positive about the person you're with, then don't say nothing at all. And I had to learn that as a woman. I had to learn how to review how I say things to people, because when we don't say the right things about the person we're with, those people that we usually talk to go around them, they start looking at them sideways like, hmm. It's like you start making people not like the person you're with, and they don't even know them. So I had to learn how to review how I say things about people. I had to
Yeah.
learn that. Mhm.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying all in all now. There's a difference. Now, if you're saying certain things because you already know, just like all of y'all know that that person is what it is, then that's different. If y'all had some form of
Mhm.
interaction with them and you trying to give your friend a warning, granted, I respect that. Like, if you know he a low down dog, or just like even with some of the fellas, he be like, yeah, son, I respect you. You ain't have to tell me what you told me. It's the same way. Now, if it's interactions like that, and everything they know, we ain't gonna allow this to happen. But if it's people that you don't know, people you never really had interaction with, then you can't go off of just one assumption. That was just like how you try to say, like I said, you'll try to say, oh, but why should it matter when I know for a fact my first impression has always been the first impression? I gave you respect, showed you respect, I showed you people respect when you brought me around the people, you know?
Exactly. And that's what I said. A lot of us, on both sides, men and women, have to learn how to talk to the person they're with. And I know for myself, I had to learn how to grow up. I had to learn like, don't come at the person you're with aggressive, like, and don't always be making assumptions or always tending to think that they're trying to do something to be against me, trying to do something to hurt me, trying to do something that, saying things like, oh, they're going to cheat on me anyways, they're going to do this, they're no good anyways, all men are this or all women are that. When you do that, you're already setting the relationship up to fail. So we have to learn how to do better.
Yeah, but not just so much as the relationship you setting up for failure. You setting up the possible aspects for the dating game for people who are gonna come up in that dating game. Like, all right, I see everybody else done found somebody that they happy with. Now it's my turn. But then again, how they gonna do that when they done been poisoned by people? Like I was just speaking about the other day. There's a lot of people even coming on all these platforms. Y'all all disgruntled about your past experiences, but you're messing it up for the people who are supposed to be gaining something out of it. Prime example: if I'm not knowing how to speak or do certain things, or just not knowing the do's and don'ts, and I'm trying to learn them from you. How can I learn from you if you only showing me the don'ts? You're only giving me the negative aspects of things. You're not giving me the positive. All right, this negative thing happened, but what positive came out of it? Because there's always something that comes out of something negative.
And one thing that I think is so important that people forget, when they're in a relationship after a while, they kind of take the person they're in a relationship for granted, on both sides. Like, don't put yourself together, don't look nice, just like whatever, just feel like, oh, I got them and I can do whatever I want, and becoming more and more selfish when you should be focusing. My mom said something when I was a little girl that I didn't understand at the time, but as I've gotten older, I get it. If you have one person and they're focusing on the other, then you both will always be happy. If one person is always seeking to make the other one happy, then you both will always be happy, because if my joy should come from seeing the person I'm with happy, and their joy should come from seeing me happy. And when you do that, you're doing kind deeds, you're doing things that that they will enjoy. We have to learn that as mature women and men, that you should never stop getting to know the person you're with, and you should never stop putting yourself together and doing nice things for your partner.
Oh no, and that's perfectly well said. And I told somebody it is a two-way street. I told somebody you can't expect to have this type of a person, right? But then you got the person, and now it's like either you don't want it or you don't know how to really grasp onto it and keep it. Like, it's just simple things. Like I said, it's only going to take certain things for some men, especially those who feel like, listen, I don't have time to play. Same way you got certain women that ain't got time to play. We got men out here that don't got time to play. I don't got time for you to play on my emotion or play with my intelligence or play with anything like you just said. Manhood, none of that. It's just certain balances you're not going to be able to play with. That's just with any man. Forget the emotional man. We talking about just men, period, that actually know what it is. You're not going to be able to do but so much without taking some form of blowback. So you got to be wise in not just the things you saying, but just be wise in your actions.
Yeah, you have to. You always have to think about, like, if I do this, how is this going to affect the person I'm with? And I hear people say all the time, I can do what I want. Of course, everybody's free to do what you want, but remember, those same decisions come with consequences.
Yeah, because again, like just like you just said earlier, you can't assume that everybody gonna be in the same boat. I said because that'll be a main reason to push somebody good away from you, which is the truth. If you're gonna consistently, that's just like you thinking that somebody's gonna be a cheater all the time. Everybody's gonna be a cheater. No, if you've been cheated on before, then look, we've all been cheated on. I don't care who the hell you be. You can lie if you want to. Everybody in some way or form, even when they was young, has been cheated on. So you pretty much already know whatever signs you need to look for when it happens. Like, okay, let me reevaluate something. But then again, sometimes certain things can be avoided only if there's communication. You ain't communicating, you can expect something to slip up under your nose. You can expect your lady to be up in somebody else's bed or vice versa. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, especially to keep the element of that strong relationship or even marriage going, you're pretty much losing it.
Yeah, that's true. And this is a thing that what I don't like. I think a lot of times people get comfortable in a relationship after so many years. People like just slack off, like they stop dating them. They're like, oh, I know them. Like, what do I need to do dating them? You still need to go and spend that time together, have some fun, get out. And, I say this to on both sides, ladies and gentlemen, going on a date somewhere, that don't have to cost you nothing. You can just go for a walk, go to the park. There's things that you can do free. And I know that there's a lot of people who are struggling right now financially. So don't say, oh, I wish I could do something with the person I'm with. I wish I could do something, but I can't afford to. There's many things you could do free if you just use your mind. Even if you do something like light some candles at home, make a dinner, or get a babysitter for the kids, and you guys go take a walk and go somewhere. But it's about taking the time out to say, this is the time just for us.
Yeah, and that's technically what is. I'll be honest with you. I honestly feel when it's not just strong communication, but when you really locked in together, most of the time you're pretty much gonna know what to do. I've seen some people like, damn, I wanted to do this, but since I can't do this, substitute. Look, we're gonna take a rain check on this, but we can still do this if you like. Or, you know what? Doesn't matter. Just get dressed. I see some people just look here. Come on, I don't want to hear that. Come on, get dressed. But you get dressed. We still going out. Like, we'll find something to do, even if it's sitting at a diner. Shoot, like even in the city, you got show. It's the only thing you can do is free. That could be considered a date.
Right.
because they got free shows. They do have free performances and stuff like that. Sometimes you might go to a free event. You might go to a festival or something like that. That's free right there. Shoot. You just gotta have your mindset to know just in the event I can't do what I really want to do and go out for the gusto, I can still give them something and we can still make the best out of it.
Yeah.
It really is about us. Like that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's the important part. Like people say all the time, "Oh, I'm with them all the time." I said, "No, you're with them with the kids or with your parents or with other people or coworkers. Going out with other people is not the same thing as going out solo." So that's what I'm talking about. Spend time together solo. And so nobody can get involved in the conversation, that it's just about you, the both of you spending time together, bonding, because that's what keeps a relationship tight. Just talking about things and hugging on each other, holding each other's hand, talking about things, even simple things like that may be the only time you could say, "Oh, I wanted to tell you this is going on with me." Would you be able to say that if you weren't spending solo time together? Probably not.
Yeah. And see, you can say this from experience because when you pretty much just grasp the concept of things, it starts to become more easier and becomes, more familiar, which is the good thing. You're supposed to always still remain familiar with somebody that you're dealing with. There's a lot of different things that can happen within that small course of time, even while you're together. Like I said, you could be together every day and still not know something might be going on, and vice versa. But I've always said if you both are feeling the type of way about anything, sit there at the table and talk. The
Yeah.
most, and again, talk, not scream, get crazy. I grant all that. But sometimes you might get high strong or high emotion, especially if you're both feeling like you're not being heard.
Right.
But again, you just gotta pay attention to the overall general gist. It might not even be nothing that crazy the way y'all can't fix it.
Yeah.
You know, you,
Exactly. It takes the effort. You have to put effort and energy into anything. You got to have effort, energy, and good communication, and not just thinking it has to be your way and go the way you want to. I've seen a lot of people mess up bad relationship because of this list. They have this long list, and you have a good person, but they're so focused, "Oh, they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't make this amount of money, this is where they live, or they have a past," or whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean because a person has a past or they did something before or they were married and divorced and that didn't work out, that doesn't make them a good person. It just means that they probably weren't with the right person. Maybe they were immature or whatever the case may be. So we have to stop holding things against the person that you're with. And sometimes we do it like not on purpose, but we'll be like, "Yeah, you did this," or don't throw stuff up in your person's face. Talk about them and say you always and you did this and that's why you're like that. Don't do that. That's how you mess up your a good relationship.
I mean, you got to be able to, like I said, when it comes down to that, even if certain things were said already, sometimes you might say something that, you know, not so much that you can't take it back, but some people will feel a type of way about it. But then again, you still would have to sit there and listen to the overall gist of it. The overall gist of it is we wouldn't have came to this conclusion had we both still been communicating about what's going on either end. So if there is miscommunication, if there's something that I didn't see and I wasn't aware of, but you was aware of it and didn't warn me, that's a problem.
And that's the thing, is like we have to stop making these assumptions, because those assumptions will really ruin your relationship. You think this and that about a person and none of it is true. Listening to people in the streets, listening to their parents or other people. I'm gonna be honest, sometimes the people that are saying things against you, your homegirl, homeboy, your friends, quote unquote, they could want the person that you're with. They try to mess up your relationship so that they can get your good thing.
Yeah, that's why. that's why in that notion right there, you just gotta pay attention to overall overall society of it. Like, look here, um, there's only so much you're gonna be, with your friends and family. And when it's all said and done, you're going home at the end of the day with your significant other. You want to be both, not just wrapped up in each other's arms, but you want to be able to say, listen, we had a day today, whatever you're going through, you know what, I'll let you even talk about it. What's going on in your day outside of us? Like, because, yeah, you're going to need your space. But then you got to always remember, too, you can't put too much space between that relationship either. Like, you can't be constantly with the fellas, prime example. And I'm saying it for some of the fellas. You can't always be with the fellas and then neglect your woman. And then vice versa. Ladies, you cannot be always with your women's in them and then neglect your man. That's the way you lose
Mhm. Everything in this life is about balance. Everything. You gotta have, okay, you got your parents, you got siblings, you got your friends, you have work, but also you have to make time for the person you're in a relationship. And for me, I felt like it's not even hard. Anything that you really care about, you're going to put the time, even if it's 2 minutes, waking up 2 minutes before you got to head out the door. I just wanted, let's just talk about this. Like, I just want to tell you how important you are. And that does a lot to the morale of the relationship when you have somebody to say, I want you to know I appreciate you. I want you to know you're important to me. I want you to know I still love you. That is good for a relationship. And people forget sometimes to stop. They stop doing those things because they're like, they know I love them. They know I care about them. No, a person, you need to hear that from time to time.
it. Yeah, it's just the reassurance value of it. I mean, because again, sometimes you might not be able to say it every day, especially like, look, you both might be leading frustrating lives like separately because you both got different jobs, prime example, or, depending on the situation at hand, but again, this is where communication will always have to remain strong. Even if it's the simplest token, like how you always see how I express it. It only takes 5 minutes out your day, especially even if it is something. Even if it is your significant other. Just take 5 minutes out your day, even if listen, just want to let you know I love you and you're well appreciated and no matter what, I'm always going simple things like that. It's the reassurance, the same thing. Like, look, y'all need the reassurance the same way with some of the men. We need reassurance. I want to be sure that I'm giving you everything and not being taken for granted, and vice versa.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but a lot of times you forget that men need that assurance that they're loved too. A lot of times it's always looked at like, oh, as a woman, you got to tell the woman that you love her. But what about the men too? They need to be told that they're loved and appreciated as well. Even saying things like, thank you for working so hard for this house. Thanks for being who you are. All of that. That's good for not only your ego, but it's good for the confidence and the strength of the relationship.
That's a fact. But you know what? It also is the same way for a friendship. That's why a lot of people are able to build them strong. Like I was just saying earlier in the beginning on the podcast. You got some people who it's not just because they was in the sandbox together. No, they just even they shoot. You could be in the sandbox and grow and go different roads. But in the same token, y'all know each other good enough. You know that look, there's a certain limits and bounds that we ain't going to cross because we already know what it is. And a lot of things that connect people is another way that some of them things stay strong, even down to a marriage. It's about a strong, not just bond and a connection. It's just about all in all, you know, being unafraid basically to be who you are. And if that person accepting you, that's even better.
Yeah.
Because you can't play a character when you're in a relationship or a marriage. Look, this is who I am. Take me as I am, a leader.
Yeah. And also folks need to stop letting other people mess up their relationship, like what other people are saying. Get people out of your ears. Oh, that's not, I wouldn't take that if I was you, and I wouldn't stay with them, and I wouldn't do this, and telling you how to live in your house. You have to know what works in your relationship. You have to know what works with your children. You got to know what works with your financial situation. No two people are alike, and don't let other people run your relationship and get in your head and get you thinking crazy.
Yeah, the first the first notion of doubt, it'll start causing mistrust. And that's the most important thing to remember. You know, it's never supposed to be doubts. Like if I'm giving you my all, I expect the same thing back, especially if we are this deep in. You know, but again, communicate. Learn to still keep spending that time with each other. Because just like you said, you're gonna have days where you're gonna be to the max with people. Might just want to look. I want to just be with my lady, or I want to be with my man, and let's go do something. Like just even if it's for the night. Come on. Again, it's about bringing back something that brought y'all together in the first place.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Show your appreciation, saying thank you, sorry, and I appreciate you. It does go a long way. I know, like sometimes, like if somebody does something, like you gonna have your tiffs and your disagreements, but just saying I'm sorry, not sorry that not all the time you're sorry because you can understand, but sorry maybe if you were unkind, or sorry if you were being disrespectful. There's a lot of ways that we can be sorry. Sometimes when we're sorry, you can never understand because you don't live in their shoes. You never been through the things they've been through. But sometimes just saying I'm sorry if I lacked compassion. Sorry if I wasn't patient with you. That's very important in a relationship. It goes to the longevity of the relationship when you show appreciation, and even just expressing, regret, and saying thank you. All of it is important.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple parameters to keeping something good if you got something good. Like, sometimes, like you said, you just got to unlearn certain things you was already taught, or something that you thought that was going to keep a good relationship. Because, like I said, it's not going to be, I got to argue with you every day just for, nah, I'm not arguing with you every day to prove I love you. I'm not going to argue with you whether I'm right or wrong. I don't really want to do that, because it's like, look here, like if I want to have a conversation with you, I should be able to at least get my point across. And just like I would let you get your point across. But in the same token, understand that if I'm giving you something, I'm giving you something from, again, a logical view. I'm not being nowhere near emotional. No, I'm just telling you what it is because I see things as well too. We just gotta, you know, we gotta dust off some of the things that we see even in society. That's why I said like people coming in with that poisonous attitude of, oh well, man did this and yada yada yada. Okay, well that man did that. I'm quite sure if you was with other men, not every man did that same thing. But if you was getting the same treatment, that means you was choosing those type of men to begin with. You gotta know who to choose, like on both ends. It's the same thing. You can't think that every woman in the town Jezebel, and then that's not even the case. You'll mess yourself up quick.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people will do. They lacked a discernment and insight, and putting people in categories that they don't even belong to, assigning people certain roles, or making assumptions, thinking that how a person feels. And the same thing happens in relationships. You kind of sometimes get in that category. Oh, they're going to do this when that's not even what they were going to do. Ask questions. And I think that that's very important in a healthy relationship. Learning to ask questions. Just because a person may have wanted something 5 years ago doesn't mean they want that same thing now.
Exactly.
Ask questions. So um, I feel like this conversation was a really important one, and I'm very appreciative for you coming through and coming on the channel, Nate. I truly appreciate you. I put the link to your channel, I pinned it, and I'm also going to put it in the description box when this live ends. Any final words on this topic?
Yeah, this one little final comment. See, I always try to break things down the way I need to, and I'm gonna break this down as simple as possible. Fellas, not every woman is gonna be the same. Whether you had a bad experience with a chick, and vice versa, ladies, not every man is the same. You gotta not just ask questions, but you also gotta be observant and be well aware of the person that you are putting around you. Because again, it will say a whole lot. You might make some new adjustments. You might, actually get rid of some things that you might need to get rid of, which is important.
And my final word for this conversation is I'm going to read Sirius's comment first. Think of discernment as a journey. You will grow personally and closer. Pay attention to what's going on in your heart. And my final thoughts on this conversation is, learn to be open. Learn to be open to grow. Learn to be open to learn. Don't make assumptions. And let's stop breaking these generational curses of saying, because some issues happened to you in your past, don't put all women or put all men in a certain category. Let's elevate, think better. See, when you think better or think the best of the person you're with, things will improve. And don't assume that you know that either. Ask the questions, spend time together, talk, communicate, ask what the other person wants and needs. That's how we show that we respect the other. Spend time together, and don't put anybody in your romantic business, especially your bedroom stuff. Keep that to yourself. That ain't nobody's business. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say. Learn how to treat your man and woman in a better way. Sometimes we were always growing up in an environment where we saw a good and healthy relationship, but that doesn't mean we can't learn. We can always learn. We can always do better. Yes, sure can. So so I appreciate you, Nate. What were you saying?
Oh no, I said what you just said right there at that last part. I can even piggyback off that. Like I was just telling you earlier, I've seen some older folks that look 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years strong. And you'd be like, well, how was they able to be together throughout that whole course of time like that? A lot of times if you have something that's always going to keep y'all bonded together no matter what the world is throwing you, you're pretty much going to have that. Again, it is about solid communication and not breaking a balance. If that balance is peaceful, if that balance really gives you what it needs, then don't destroy it. I've seen some people destroy their balance just because of that. I just spoke about that recently. I say even down to some of these celebrities, they messed their own marriages up and didn't want to blame everybody else. No, you took the initiative on doing something. I didn't take the initiative. Even what was being said about me being done to me, and you wasn't really standing up on it. Hey, I ate that. But now you got to eat the facts that you just messed up your own balance. Don't blame nobody else but yourself. Take accountability when you need to. Take responsibility.
Period. Couldn't have said it any better. Great conversation, Nate. Thank you so much for coming through. I welcome you to come back. You're welcome anytime to hop up on the panel. I hope we can do this again and have another conversation. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you already know, Marlene, baby. You always got to come show love. But shoot, this is definitely a topic. Like I said, it don't matter who panel next. Don't matter. We always speak about these type of topics anyway. And see, and that's what I enjoy about the people that have become even part of my collective. Like we all gonna have a general conversation. It's not about emotions at the end of the day. It's just about the logic and the actual preparation of things. It's like we lost the balance to certain ways that we was known to have. Nah, we got to get that back. Like you said, take that power back. Shoot, we all got to take our power back one way or another. And even when it comes down to a relationship or a marriage, man, listen, you gotta always keep that element. Even the element of surprise is good sometimes. You might not be expecting. I'm taking your ass on a trip here. Right? But it's coming. And vice versa. That element of surprise is always good and great for relationship, marriage, even friendship. You never know what you're gonna expect. Life is gonna throw you different curveballs. It's about the ones that you actually catch that don't hit you in the face. That's important.
Yes, you have to be spontaneous, and that's what keeps the relationship strong and going. So I could keep going for another hour, but I gotta hop up off of here. I really do appreciate the conversation. Shout out to the chat, to the mods. Thank you, Sirius, all of the mods, and anybody who's watching in the replay. Y'all go over to Nate the Great Podcast 2.0. Subscribe to his channel if you have not already. Watch a video, leave a like, and all of those things. I appreciate all of y'all.
I really appreciate you too, Marlene, baby. You keep on grinding and keep on rising. And that's for everybody that's even in the chat. Y'all keep grinding, keep rising, and keep doing what you're doing. Let nothing and no one stop your pursuit of not just true happiness, but peace and balance. Y'all already know what it is, baby.
Thank you, Nate. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to everybody who is here. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you for tuning into the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, if you have not liked, share this with a friend. We're on our road to monetization. Run a playlist up. Run a playlist up for your girl. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.